Welcome to Matt Riley Bakes. Today's recipe is for my cheese and shallot tart. Chuck Norris once said real men don't eat quiche. Well, this ain't a quiche, this is a tart. So in your face, Chuck Norris. For the pastry base, I'm going to be using this food processor. If you haven't got one of these, you can do it by hand. It's got to knead it into a fine breadcrumb. So I'm adding the flour, the butter, and also for this base, I'm putting in 10 grams of parmesan just to make it extra cheesy. I'm going to add the cold water slowly at first, probably put about half in, and then give it a good old mix up. Then you want to add the second half. So add the rest of the water and make the rest of the pastry. There we go, that's resembling the fine breadcrumbs that you're after. That should ball together really nicely. Before I chill this, I'm going to flatten it down between a couple of bits of parchment paper and give it a quick roll. Okay, so I've rolled that out to roughly the same sort of size as the tin I'm going to be using. Then that goes in the fridge to chill for about half an hour. So when that's chilled, it's time to line your tin. I'm using a 10-inch loose bottom tin, but you could probably use the smaller tartlet tin, probably get about 6 out of this recipe. So you're going to peel your parchment paper off. So you're going to place your pastry gently over your tin, making sure you've covered all the sides. And you can peel off the other side of the parchment paper. So you want to go a little bit carefully, you don't want to start tearing your pastry. Okay, then carefully push the pastry into the fluted sides. You don't want to handle it too much, because obviously the pastry is cold and your hands are pretty warm. So I'm going to leave the top of my pastry a little bit proud at the top of the tin to allow for some shrinkage when it's in the oven. Cut the tops off, leaving it sticking out a little bit. I've used a bit of the parchment I rolled the pastry out with. Cut it into a size a little bit bigger than the base. I'm going to screw it up, open it out, and then put it in the casing. That way you can really push it into all the corners. And I'm using these ceramic beads for the blind baking. You can use dry rice or pasta, but you want to definitely blind bake this. And because I've cut it a little bit bigger, you can sort of push it over the top of the pastry a little bit so it doesn't catch anywhere in the oven. Okay, that's good to go. That's going into the oven, 180 degrees for about 10 minutes. After blind baking your pastry case for 10 minutes, remove the beans and pop it back in for another 5 minutes. Whilst the pastry's in the oven, it's time to brown off your shallots in a pan with some butter, ready to make the filling. So the filling for the tart is super easy to do. I've got the cheese in a bowl. I'm going to add the onions, which I've browned off. I'm going to put the cream in, and I've got a bit of paprika and some thyme, that's going in as well. Pop them all in together with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and 1 egg. And mix everything together, make sure it's fully combined. With the pastry base done, you can trim off any excess. I'm using a serrated knife, just go easy. It's time now to pop the filling in the case and then top off with a bit more paprika and parmesan. That goes in the oven at 180 degrees for 25 minutes. So there we have it, my cheese and shallot tart. Hope you enjoy making it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Matt Riley Bakes.